count on it. Count us. What does it mean? Look around and see how many we are. Half the sky. Count on it. Count on us. Also and above all means trust. Trust on us. Count on our preparation, reliability, affidability, determination. The future belongs to the so-called STEM subject. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Unfortunately, looking at the enrollment statistics, the girls are less than 25%, especially in fields like engineering and more technological ones. Why is the gender gap a problem not only for women, but for society as a whole? Because we cannot afford a waste of human resources, especially us, because we are a nation very old, second only to Japan in this particular ranking. Where does the problem come from? Why girls don't like scientific subject? But it is true that they don't love them. Scientific studies report a noticeable gender gap already in a very early age. In preschool age, we must work on the change of attitude that parents, teachers, educators, adults in general have when they are referring to boys or girls. An American study analyzes the behavior of adults of both genders with respect to a 6-month-old baby. First, he was dressed in a onesie, blue onesie, and then in a pink one. The newborn is the same, but how adults were reflecting, but how others described the kid's reaction depending on the onesie worn was very different. As an example, he was reacting very well, or she was not really interested. What can we do all together? Reflect on our way of thinking and behaving, proposing interactive and creative games, for example, video games or construction. This video is an inspiration, a starting point to a different approach, not only on the issue of the gender gap. I wish I don't hear people that are cultural references to proudly boasting they do not understand anything about mathematics. Who would do the same, say that they have never understood anything about logical analysis or Manzonian prose? Contrary to what most people think, mathematics is highly creative. A problem does not have the solution, has many solutions. Maybe one is more elegant and shorter than the other. We want to pass this message to all the young generation and educators at all levels, from primary to university. Fewer schemes and more research of a solution. This is true in mathematics, but also for all problems that you have to face in your life. Dare and break the mold. Dare and break down the barriers. Mathematics. Mathematics and me. Let's start from the basics. 5 times 5, 6 times 4, 7 times 8. Thank you, because this never comes to me. but never, 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 huh? Good. We want to continue with something more personal. Well, I screw up measurements. In the living room, we have all the wrong shelves because on the phone I told my boyfriend, who was calling me from IKEA to find out the measurements, that the part of the wall where the shelves had to fit was 1 meter wide instead of 60 centimeters. In fact, since there are 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour, I always think that in a meter there are 60 centimeters. And more. I have done and done 5 times the only knitting of my life because I made a scarf as wide as an American motorway. All that for a bullshit boyfriend, really. Instead of wearing it, he pretended to be hot in bloody January. I made a cheesecake flat and dry like a frisbee after getting the yeast doughs wrong. I killed the only goldfish I've ever had because I persisted in gorging it every day with a quantity of food suitable for a Pacific tuna. One more thing. You're like me, Viola, my mother used to say. I have never understood anything about numbers. You have to think, Viola, my father used to say. You're intelligent, Viola, my teacher used to say. But you're not talented. You're not talented at mathematics. So, sorry, but how can you think if you're not talented? It is enough to have one person doing the calculations in the family. You are good at writing and drawing. Come on, your brother will do the bill. Again, your brother will do the bills. And there we are. One day, I said to myself, I don't believe it. Enough of family prejudices. Right now, I really want to understand the issue. And I started investigating. And as it turns out, the data shows that girls perform better than boys in all subjects in both primary and secondary school. Not to say that girls are better than boys, huh? Here we need to analyze the fact that culturally we are brought up to be good, studious girls, perhaps. Anyway, I was saying, girls have performances better than boys in all subjects, but not in mathematics. In mathematics, the girls usually do worse. Yes, that's right. Unfortunately. In Italy, this gap in mathematics is among the worst in the industrialized world. PISA, Program for International Students Assessment, showed that in 2016, for example, between males and females, there was a gap of 20 points in Italy versus the 9 points of the other countries of the industrialized world. And the gender gap increases as we progress from primary school to secondary school and on to university. There are more females than males enrolled in university, but there are far fewer women in science faculties. Does it seem natural? It doesn't surprise you, right? Me neither. But why? You're good at writing and drawing. Come on. Your brother will do the bill. Oh yes. Maria Sklodowska, known as Marie Curie. Polish, France, late 19th century. She graduated in physics and mathematics and became the first female doctorate in France. In Europe, the very few women who manage to reach this level are then forced to teach or assist some male researcher, and they don't get paid. Marie is lucky enough to collaborate with her husband, Pierre Curie, an enlightened scientist opposed to gender discrimination and who recognizes her genius. The two together study and conduct experiments on radioactivity day and night. They also ruin their health with radioactive material. But when the list of candidates for 1903 Nobel Prize in Physics comes out, there is only the name of Pierre. Then he declares, I will not collect the award without the joint nomination of Madame Curie,
who still bears his surname, huh? And so Maria Sklodowska becomes the first woman to receive a Nobel Prize, what's more, in physics. Not only that, in 1911, she alone also receives the Nobel Prize in chemistry. She is the first to win 2 Nobel Prizes. She is one of the only 2 people to receive 2 Nobel Prizes in 2 different fields. By the way, only 3% of scientific Nobel Prizes have been awarded to women. Exactly since 1901, the year of its establishment, 583 Nobel Prizes in scientific disciplines have been awarded. Of these, only 18 have been awarded to a woman. How it is possible? Maria Sklodowska, we were saying, an absolute genius. I must confess that I have a great love for biographies. So I have read pages and pages of biographies of great female scientists: Coleman, Gianotti, Franklin, Lovelace, Jamieson, Margherita Hack. Because there are women, great women, even in scientific subjects. I thought their stories could be inspirational. They could give us answers as to why there are fewer women in science faculties, about what's wrong with women and mathematics, or why I cannot distinguish the x-axis and the y-axis. I could stay here 2 hours to tell you the stories of many other extraordinary scientists. They are unique people who study day and night mathematics and physics to make groundbreaking discoveries, while a team of male colleagues tease and treat them as inferior beings, while escaping dominating fathers and arranged marriages, or undergoing racial segregation because they are African American, or fleeing to another country persecuted by the SS, as many of them were Jewish. But studying these incredible stories, I realized, that these women are not like me, like us. That is to say that not everyone can be like them, or have to be like them. In fact, these women made me feel like someone who can't swim in front of an Olympic synchronized swimming team. I thought I needed smaller, more normal, truer stories. And, then I went to rummaging through my memories. There was my neighbor at my school desk, for example. She was very good at mathematics. She had a neat notebook and no erasing, and a full pen holder with a new cartridge pen and sharply pointed pencils. She was called Federica. During a test, she leaned on her left hand with her chin, pretending to check her answers. But on the back of her hand were the results of the problems, and I 9.5 ice creams, 31 Barbie mermaid. Viola? 8,600 Nintendo Sega Master System. Viola, I'll give you a bad grade. 91 lollipops. For the last time, Viola. At that point, our friend Irini intervened. Like a flash, she approached the teacher and said, "Teacher, I have 2 solutions for the second problem." Or, "Teacher, I believe that in the first exercise there is a mistake." Or, "Teacher, is it possible that a recurring number comes out in the fourth?" Questions like that, which none of us children understood, but the teacher gloated and began to answer. And while Irini distracted the teacher, I finished coping. 17,420 liter, 85 cans, 3.5 cans of Coke. I got a few numbers wrong on purpose, and I had a guaranteed pass. Thanks, Federica, and thanks, Irini. Nicknamed the Great Irini. She was a year younger, but she skipped the first year because she was ahead of her peers. Very small, with black eyes, the thin legs, she excelled in everything, not just mathematics, even in reading, in oral presentation, in irony. When she mimicked the teacher, she made us scream, "Fiona, stop it!" The only thing in which she didn't come first was running races, because she was stuck in a wheelchair. In fact, she would put herself out and then we found her at the finish line with the stopwatch in her hand to establish with indisputable precision who had made the best time. For me, the competition froze. Even in running races where I would have been very strong, to me, the risk of losing was so frightening that sometimes I gave up earlier. And the same happened to me with mathematics. Easier to withdraw, not respond, than to overcome fear. And sometimes the teacher made us do competitions, the mathematics Olympics, square root of 144, the Pythagorean theorem, 189 divided by 15.7. Whoever answered first won a medal and applause from the whole class. But not even Federica was very strong in that game. Simone or Martin always won, apart from the great Irene, of course, who was not afraid of anything. She was the only girl who did not fear competition with males. But why? Why do many of us already do worse in these subjects as girls? I documented myself. Studies say that the attitude towards mathematics is more positive among boys than among girls. That is, there are more guys who think, "I learn mathematics quickly. I learn a lot of things thanks to mathematics. Mathematics is easy for me. And then, if I'm positive about mathematics, I'll do better. If I'm not afraid, I'll get higher grades. Voila!" Other than genetics, females believe it less than males. It won't mean just because the whole world tells us, it has always told us, "You're female, maybe you're also intelligent, but you're not born to do this." And like this, we fall into the well. So, what are we to do? Put in more hours of mathematics? Only for females? No. Increase homework? Only for females? Nope. Create special schools only for females? No, no, no. Studies say during childhood it is necessary to encourage cooperation activities, not competition. That is, dear teacher Paola, no mathematics competitions with a prize for who comes first, because that is a mechanism that favors only males and not everyone, I imagine. Instead, dear teacher Paola, encourage group activities where we learn together, we reason together, we think about strategies to obtain a result together. And then, why don't we take the girls to science museums too? Why don't we also talk to them about science fiction? Why do we let the girls play with construction, with Lego? Because we keep thinking that little girls only care about dolls and romance novels. Romance novels and dolls, which, on the other hand, must also be proposed to males, since the data show how many males are often bad at writing, for example. But this is another story. I used to play with Lego. Well, yes, that is, I used to play with Lego those afternoons when I went to Irene's house. Afternoons of mathematics at Irene's house. Irene was Greek on her mother's side, They lived with their grandmother in the same neighborhood as Federica. 10-story red brick buildings, 2 balconies for each apartment, and a large concrete courtyard where children and old people played. I was taken there in the afternoon. We stayed a little at the house of one and a little at the house of the other, and I there copied. That is, I did my mathematics homework. Irine's grandmother offered us mint tea and tzatziki, basically cucumbers, yogurt, and garlic, instead of the plum cakes that we ate at my house. There was such a smell of garlic at the beginning. I thought I was at some vampire hunter's place. Anyway, then we played in the bedroom with a mountain of Lego. It's only happened at the homes of boys. But everything in that house was a little different. Mathematics is everywhere and for everyone, Irine's grandmother used to tell me, while I was desperately stuck in a division with a comma. You? Mathematics is everywhere, and it is for everyone, men and women. Seriously, really also for girls. I was desperate, because the numbers came out wrong even if I copied. And she, with her usual smile, yes, also for girls. Why? What is the difference between your brain and that of your brother? Everything in that house was so different. I too was somewhat different when they took me home after an afternoon with Irene and her grandmother. Even though I had copied the homework, I felt more logical, better at shapes and numbers, and I was spinning the Rubik's Cube endlessly. Why don't you have your brother finish the bloody cube? And on my mother's words, my mathematical impulse sank against the iceberg of Rubik's reality. Federica, Irene. 30 years have passed. The great Irene creates mathematical models for an international mega company. She's been doing it since she was 24. She is always in the midst of hundreds of male colleagues. Federica, another story. She became a social worker. What about mathematics? She shrugs. In engineering, they were all males. In physics as well. Pure mathematics seemed nonsense to me. My parents told me to choose something more suitable to me, more concrete, without too many strange thoughts bouncing around my head. Why does a cute girl like you study science? How many girls heard it? Because, you see, as Natalia Ginsburg says, there is a well, a black hole of insecurity and sadness into which we, women, sometimes fall, some more, some less. And no, it's not the hormones. No, all lies. It's been heard for centuries.
It's not for you. Forget it. Let me do it, honey.
In all things, even in the feminine art of cooking, when it comes to being a chef, to running the kitchen, they are all male, but this is again another story. For us women, it is okay to be teachers, nurses, educators, very noble and very difficult jobs. But why necessarily those? Because we are sweet, caring, soft, malleable, nothing more distant from the hard science. What do you think about it? You girls, women, what do you think? Maybe you think, no, this is what men think. We don't. It is a typically male prejudice. I thought so, too. But in fact, no. Harvard University has prepared a test to verify if deep down we think that science is hard, very hard stuff for men. Well, 70% of the people who take the test show a tendency to associate males with science and females with the humanities, literature, art, history, and only 1% of the people who took the test show a strong tendency to associate women with science. Would you like to try the test? It is online. You can find the link at the end of this video. I did it, and my result is that I'm also in that 70%. Yes, incredible. Can you believe it? I'm almost 40, I'm an educated woman, and I have researched a lot to do this video. But this prejudice is so profound even in us women, and this is a problem, because we continue to raise girls who are afraid of mathematics. Little girls convinced that science is not for them. Instead, in countries where gender equality is emerging, girls are always doing better in mathematics, even better than boys. UNESCO says so. The climate, the fight against inequality, work, the economy. Imagine if, to solve all these challenges, there were also many mathematical minds of women, women capable of solving mathematical problems, but also accustomed to being caring. Less erection and more connection. You're good at writing and drawing, but come on, the accounts. No, Flam. I was not a mathematical thunderbolt, it is true, nor a future mathematics professional. But science is a discipline founded on dialogue. And all of us, men and women, we all have the right to an education. May it help us to be part of this dialogue without fear of making mistakes. We are entitled to feel capable and to find our own mathematical path. And we are also entitled to the wonder of mathematics, to see things a little through the eyes of Marie Curie and of Rita Levi-Montalcini, the reality made of forces that attract and repel, of stars that shine from the past, of tiny double helix containing the sound of our voice and our shoe size, of numbers that draw the shapes of the universe as in a snail shell, a snowflake, or a Romanesco cabbage. This time, I'll do the accounts. And then this, yes, you can count on it. Count on it. Count on us.